Hello and welcome. In this lecture, we'll be exploring admissibility of evidence. Objectives is to explore Federal Rules of Evidence 401 to 403 and Federal Rules 105. Also, a test for relevance under Rule 401. Limitations on admissibility, Rules 402, 403, and the balancing test and jury instructions. Now, when parties to a case bring a dispute before a court, evidence is also brought in order to vindicate each of the parties' case. Now, the court has a rule that evidence to be brought before a court has to be relevant. Now, the test of relevant is twofold. Evidence must be probative, and two, that it must be material. The probative prong of the test is that the evidence has to make a fact more or less probable than it would be without the evidence. And it is material if it is crucial, if it is key in determining the action being sought for before the court. For example, a thief is found with an item he has been accused of stealing. That very item, in this case, is material or is, in this case, relevant for the particular case. The general rule on admissibility of relevant evidence is that any irrelevant evidence is not admissible. Relevant evidence is admissible unless prohibited by the U.S. Constitution, federal statute, federal rules of evidence, or the Supreme Court. Now, the balancing test states that any piece of evidence is inadmissible, though it is relevant, if its probative value is substantially outweighed by unfair prejudice, confusing issues, misleading the jury, undue delay, time wasting, or cumulative evidence. What that means is that although the evidence is probative and it has a relevant status, that evidence will be excluded because either the evidence confuses the jury, for example, the evidence may mislead the jury, the evidence may delay the court proceedings, it may be time wasting. Now, such type of evidence the court will not admit. Under Rule 105, the court may limit the jury instruction on the evidence that is being, in this case, precluded under Rule 403. Now, what the court does is the instructions limit the admissibility of the evidence in this case, either unfair prejudice, confusing issues, or misleading the jury. Now, the court may, in this case, allow the jury instructions to be given in a way that such evidence, if they were going to be confusing, they become a clear evidence because the jury is going to look at a particular stance of the very evidence which is not confusing, and that evidence can then be admitted. That's under Rule 105.